Again, Senators, once you check in, please make sure you're taking your seats. That way we can get started on time. And if you have not picked up your box lunch, this is your one and final chance, because I'll take them. You're fine. And then please be mindful of your chips as well, so if you want to go and scarf down those chips before we get started, because, I love nothing more than hear 40 people crunch chips.
Oh, that was loud. Good evening, everybody. I hereby call this meeting to order at 6:36 p.m. First, I hope you all enjoy your Jimmy John's. It's been a day, I'm sorry. And thank you, Advisor McLean, for picking these up for me. But it was my idea. Let me just mention that. Anyways, I'll move to section 2, roll call, starting with Clerk Malone.
With 36 members present, that makes simple majority 19 and 2/3 24.
Thank you. We'll now move into section 3, public forum and presentations. Public forum provides a chance for individuals to have the privilege of speaking before the Senate. This is a time for the association to listen to what the community has to say. And to that, we offer our undivided respect and attention. I would like to remind everyone that although we allow the speakers the privilege to use this platform, the opinions of the speakers do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the association nor the university. At this time, we have Kelly Lindenberger and Jamie Krasinger with Dining Services here to present.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you all again. So we're here. I think it's really the best presentation yet because we get to decide on food of the future. I just sort of made that. So student choice concepts are coming up. So you get to be the first group of students to vote. That's so exciting. So we can either keep Breakfast & Co. Hopefully you've all had a chance to try it. We've added some new grab-and-go items. There's breakfast favorites and build your own entrees and parfaits. It's open from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then I'll also present the other two options that are coming up. And then you'll have a chance to vote, so you'll be able to get your phone out. It's QR code voting. If you don't have your phone with you or something, we will have a link available on our Instagram in our bio that you can vote later. So yeah, here's some kind of bonus features about Breakfast & Co. We have vegan, vegetarian options. It's allergen friendly. We have halal. And of course the fun new quick grab zone, easy grab items, and then reusable dishware, which you can also use at Shocker Dining, which is exciting, and customizable options. If you don't see it on the menu, Peggy, who works there, is more than willing to adjust recipes for you in case you didn't know that. So the next concept is called Ciao Bella. It's pasta bowls, garlic bread, and Italian salads. So it's also customizable and quick. This gives you the price range. We're thinking the hours might be 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So you'll have lunch and early dinner options there. Of course, we'll have vegan, vegetarian options, avoiding gluten, pasta as well, and halal options. And the third concept is Two Taco. So there will be tacos, buildable bowls. So if you're not into the grains or carbs, you can just get it as basically a salad, like a taco salad, chips and dips, queso, guac, all that good stuff. Oh, churros. Yeah, we're going to add churros. Sorry. I'm just thinking of all the things. It's the cheapest price point of all options we have. And we'll have some discounted afternoon snack hours, so you can get something as small as like one taco or multiple. And we're thinking of doing taco to go kits, so you could kind of have a dorm bundle you could take back to your apartment, your dorm, whatever, and have a taco party, if you will. And then also fast and customizable, and of course vegan, vegetarian, allergen friendly, and halal options there as well. So before we have the voting, I wanted to know if you have any questions before put the QR code up to vote, if that's okay. Yeah.
Did you say the times for the taco place?
Oh, it would also be 10 to 5. I did not say that. So that's what we're thinking anyway. Yeah.
So how do you guys go about deciding like what restaurants you guys should bring?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, I can jump on part of it, and then I'll let Jamie speak to the second half. So I know that from the marketing standpoint, we look at the options that we have available to us. So these are all internal brand concepts. We look at what's available in our area as far as recipes and ingredients that we can get. And then we do some back research, we've been doing lots of student surveys and things, kind of looking into that, and then what's available to us. Anything to add?
Yeah, well, and I think that this year, these concepts were chosen based on that feedback. We received a
So sorry, can you come closer to the mic?
Sorry.
Thank you.
I'll swap your places. The feedback that we received most of was Mexican food, Chipotle-like concepts, which is what Two Taco would essentially resemble, where you would go through, pick your style, beans, protein, veggies, but based on feedback and then also just interactions with the students and knowing through a lot of our partnerships, we were really working on the cultural piece and what can be most accommodating and inclusive has been really the big focus with these. A lot of the concepts that we had to choose from, to me, just weren't going to be inclusive for our campus.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Senator O'Keefe?
For the Two Taco, so if it's going to be like Chipotle-like, will it cost extra for guac and queso like it does at Chipotle?
So that some of those would cost a little bit more. Definitely not the price point. Dawn Lane, who manages our retail space, did some really extensive research. Chipotle is expensive, and that's what we have recognized is that through the feedback we hear you that we need to have a great option, a great variety, but it also needs to be affordable. So the bowls and plates would essentially be, I think, $2 to $3 less than what the Chipotle brand national would be. So it allows a little bit more comfort room for a smaller side. I think Chipotle charges $2 for a side of like guacamole or sour cream, where ours would be, more to the dollar mark. So a little bit more flexibility again because it's an internal brand and to be accommodating.
Thank you. Senator Howard?
And then are these like independent businesses that we're partnering with, or are these like just created by Chartwells?
Correct. So when Kelly referenced internal brands for us means that they are businesses that Chartwells operates nationwide on college campuses. They constantly are recreating concepts that might be based on, Two Tacos, very similar to a Chipotle. Ciao Bella is similar to, I would say maybe a Fazoli's, but there's also some different pastas that are a little bit more unique, but that's where they get some of those ideas from.
Thank you. Are there any further questions at this time? All right. Senator Panetto?
Is there any reason, and I'm just curious, behind why this, is there a cycle of you have the restaurant and then the next year we have the next? Is it just pure we want to give students variety or anything like that?
Yep, so every year we will do this once a year. Going into the fall, we'll vote in the spring for the upcoming fall semester. Again, every class and demographic, as we continue to evolve on campus, there's different needs, and that's the sole purpose, to ensure that we're inclusive and accommodating to those needs. Absolutely.
Any final questions? Senator Owens?
Depending on the choice we make, will there be a difference in the amount of jobs available for students?
It will definitely vary. That's a great question. It will vary based on concept. We had that conversation last week that the Two Taco, if that were the winning restaurant, we do think that would be probably higher volume, so essentially needing more associates for our team. The pasta concept, probably not. It would still probably remain with what Breakfast & Co. is. Breakfast & Co. currently is continuing kind of on an upward trend just based on some of the great ads, the donuts and the muffins and the quick grab-and-go items that we've had. We've been able to bring additional student labor in for that.
Thank you. Are there any last questions? Seeing none. Senator Cole?
Yeah, the Two Taco, that was a lot of options, and what I assume is a lot of fresh ingredients like produce. That's logistically difficult, and you said you planned on undercutting Chipotle by $2 or $3 a meal. How do you plan on making this turn a profit?
That's okay. So based on our ingredients, one of the things that Chipotle doesn't have on the company that we work for, which is Compass, we're the world's largest food purveyor. We get a lot of rebates and discounts nationwide that Chipotle would not have. So there's different discounts on cuts of meats and preparation. The other thing that we have that Chipotle doesn't necessarily have is the flexibility of when we open a Two Taco. One of the things that I'm most excited about is bringing in things, it's called a Nepali salad, which is technically a cactus salad. and being able to flex in things where Chipotle, you get the same Chipotle at on the East Coast as you do the West Coast. And so that helps us kind of flex our pricing a little bit with that creativity.
Thank you, and I'll go ahead and close the questioning and let you move on with your presentation.
It's okay. Hopefully, I knew the screens were split. So, again, if it doesn't work, we have a link in our bio on Instagram at WSU Dining. Next time I'll type that, but I know you're all following, so it's fine. Yeah, so simple options there. It lists kind of some of the details we went over again if you need to reference them.
I will also put this in the Teams as well for you all to share out.
Thanks. Yeah. And you can always stop by the dining office if you need it. Again, too. I'm going to give you some time. It only takes a couple minutes. Oh, yes. Sorry. Great question, David. So this is our very first round of voting, and the last day to vote will be April 12th. We'll also be doing some sampling. That's on my next slide, but I'm going to let you go ahead and vote. I think everyone scanned it. April 4th, we have an event in the dining hall. Powerful, another joyful component. Lamp House will be there if you are photo ready. And we'll have some other activities and things going on, but we'll have sampling of some of the concepts as well. So you can try some Ciao Bella at the pasta station. We'll have Two Taco out at International, and then some Breakfast & Co. favorites over by the grill area. We'll keep the waffle maker on, right? So I'm going to move that over. So yeah, so 11 to 1 is when that sampling is happening. We'll have another one in the retail space in the RSC. I think April 10th is what we're looking at. I'll post it again on our Instagram, and then you can always reach out, Kelly Lindenberger at compass-usa.com if you have questions. Yeah, so thank you all so much for your feedback.
Thank you. Are there any final questions for the presenters? Seeing none, thank you again for coming out today. All right, we will go ahead and move on to section 4, introductions and reports, starting with item 1, report from the executive branch, Vice President Thornton.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Just a few things from the executive branch. There is an event on March 30th, Cody Keenan at 3 p.m. If you are interested in this and attending to it, please reach out to President Kirk, as it is an RSVP only event. RSO week is April 3rd through the 6th. Town hall, the next town hall will be April 6th at 3 p.m. It'll be in here or on live stream as well. The Earth Day Festival is April 21st from 4 to 8. And then lastly, President Kirk and Director Thompson attended the monthly KBOR meeting this morning. Yeah.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, thank you for the report. We'll move into item 2, report from the Speaker of the Senate. Just a few updates. I have met with Ways and Means, Academic Affairs, and DEI for the 3 pieces of legislation that was sent to their committee, as well as regular one-on-ones with the chairs. I believe this is now the final time that I had been recalled to student fees, hopefully, and unless the Senate says otherwise. So I did my, hopefully, due diligence of representing the Senate and students there. Other than that, I just have one more thing. If Speaker Pro Tem Williams can help me pass these out. There is a legislative ballot that we need as the end of the year banquet is coming up in April, and so if you could fill out this ballot for Caitlin Nolan. Here's some extras, Advisor Fonseca. Thank you. If you could fill out these ballots, please, and then when you turn these in, let's think back to high school. This will be your exit ticket for tonight. So if you could fill these out, please, at some time throughout the Senate meeting, and then we will collect those from you tonight. And are there any questions? Thank you. All right, seeing none, we will go ahead and move to item 3, report from Senate leadership, starting with Speaker Pro Temp and Chairperson Williams.
I only have one thing tonight. The Wednesday after next, so on April 5th at 5:30 p.m., Government Relations will be hosting its 3rd annual Government Relations Picnic. So you're all invited. It's gonna be a lot of free food. I'm communicating through chairs to make sure you all have an opportunity to come to that, but it's gonna be a lot of food, so please come to that. It's just an opportunity to, soak in the success of a fantastic session. But if you do intend on coming, please let me know if you have any allergies or dietary restrictions so we can, make sure we get some food that you can eat. Is there any questions on that?
Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, we will now hear from Chairperson Harmon.
I don't really have much to report other than we don't really have any student organizations going through the committee at the moment, but we do have one presenting tonight. And other than that, nothing to report.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none, we will now hear from Chairperson Okiri. Oh, and I'm so sorry, chairs, if you could again start coming up to the podium just so it can help the live stream. I apologize.
Good evening, Senators. I hope all you had a great spring break. Committee. Okay, so today in committee, we failed the Restorative and Engage and Retention Act that Speaker Van Dyke proposed. So after chatting with Speaker Van Dyke after we had failed it and we tried to propose a resolution, him and I will be working together within the next couple of weeks that we do have to come up with a resolution so that we can get that worked out. My committee and I are going to be working on some new things, as well as a meeting with the Office of Diversity and Inclusion's new director, Harold Wallace III. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you for the report. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing no questions, thank you again for that report. We'll now hear from Chairperson Paneto.
Okay. I do not have much to report other than me and my committee developed some resolutions that we want to pass hopefully soon. So I'm very proud of them for being able to do their part and come together during our meetings to develop those resolutions.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? I see she's not taking any questions today. No, I'm sorry. You're good. You're good. Is there, we will now hear from Chairperson Owens.
No report.
She's not taking any questions either today. All right, thank you, chairs. At this time, we'll go ahead and move to item 4, report from the Senate Advisor, Advisor McLean.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll be quick with my report. I feel like I say that every week and it's always long, so I apologize for that in advance. This week I've wrapped up all my one-on-ones with each and every one of you, or most of you at this point. And I would just like to express my appreciation for all the hard work you all do. I think over the course of all 40 plus of the conversations I'll be able to have over the last, I feel like, month, You've all really enjoyed this experience, and you've are really looking forward to those who are returning, or looking forward to seeing the proposed changes, or seeing something more come from this Senate body. For those who are leaving our body, you're excited for the future of it, but you're also very much appreciative for the experiences you've been able to have up to this point. In that same line of thought, let's continue to finish out strong. Obviously, student fees will be coming to you all for the first time next week. We have our first read of the proposed restructure this week. So it's going to be a lot of really important stuff happening, and I want to make sure that we're still on our P's and Q's as we proceed forward. For a lot of you who are going for re-election, I've gotten some questions about the elections. I'm sure Gabriel will probably talk a little bit about that. Please make sure you're reading your emails. Please make sure you're reading your emails. Please make sure you're reading your emails. If you do not know something, ask about it immediately. Do not wait till after the fact and then try to scramble and find Gabriel or myself to give you an answer. So specifically, the commission is not overseen by us. It's purposely over with Abby Whistler and the commission. That way it keeps Gabriel and I as impartial as possible. So please be mindful of that. And then last bit, wow, I just drew a blank. And again, I said I was going to be short, so I'm going to be quiet, and I will stand for any questions this time.
Thank you. Are there any questions this time, Chairperson Owens?
I was half listening, but sorry. But did you mention the deadline for legislation?
Thank you. So the deadline for legislation is in theory this Friday, if you want the legislation to go up before our final meeting, which is April 19th. So they give you a little bit of flexibility in case your legislation stalls. Take note, the last meeting is we always wish our seniors good luck and goodbye, or just kick them out the door. You know, Jade. But the actual deadline, if you want to go through the two-read process, so first read, committee, second read, will be next Friday. Anything submitted after Friday, you'll need to have a separate conversation with Speaker Van Dyke to see if you will get the rule suspended. Of course, it's not really his decision, it's your all's decision. But just know that if it's submitted after next Friday, we have to go on an accelerated track. So both committees for Ways and Means and Budget and Finance, just please take that into consideration as you all are finishing up your requests. And then for everyone else, make sure as you're submitting your final bills, or resolutions, please make sure you are getting those in, preferably this Friday, but if at the absolute latest, next Friday.
And Senators, might I remind you that resolutions expire as of April 19th. So if they are not approved by the Senate before the 19th, regardless of if they are approved before the 19th, they still expire on April the 19th. So please keep that in mind. With that, are there any other questions for Advisor McLean? Seeing none, thank you. We will now move to item 5, report from the Association Advisor, Advisor Fonseca.
Hey. Okay, good. We're making some progress. Well, first of all, I have a fairly lengthy report, so thanks, Brandon. Welcome back. Hopefully you had a great spring break and you got some rest, maybe. If you didn't, that's, again, a choice. Also, it warms my heart that the picnic is still happening. Ella would be so happy. That's on my report. Okay, so yes, election season, it is here picking up, but also will be wrapping up in the next few weeks. The Election Commission is hosting 2 presidential and vice presidential debates. The first one is tomorrow, and the last one is on March 28th. Both of them are in this room in 233 and will also be live streamed. Both are covering different topics, so they're not like the same topics the same day. So we'll be able to hear from the tickets who are running for those positions. Voting, this is also for the people who are watching, but for you all to continue to share this information. Voting for the election will open on Monday, April 3rd, and will go through April 5th, which is a Wednesday. All of our fee-paying students will receive a ballot emailed directly to them. They have the ability to vote either on the ballot, on the email, or in person in the RSC, because the Election Commission will be hosting a voting poll as well. So you have the ability to do that. They also made cute little I voted stickers, so stop by the booth and pick one up if you can show them that you voted, which we can also look up as well. But the tentative results for those will be presented on April 5th at 5:30, live streamed again on the SGA YouTube. And then the certified results will be presented that Friday, and then the election will be over. Questions about that?
Are there any questions? Seeing none.
Wonderful. I'm going to do this in chunks, so that's good. Yes, our Student Fees Commission did wrap up their work after the third time. Thanks for that in my heart. The first read will take place next week, and then the final read will take place on April 5th. We will put the full student fees binder into the team, so you can have access to that if you want. It's also currently on the website, so up to you to look at either of those spaces. If you do have any questions about the legislative process, please let me know. We will spend some time again next week to kind of briefly go over it before we do the formal presentation. But if you have any questions specifically about how the review process in the Senate takes place, please let us know so that we can answer those questions. Are there any questions about student fees?
Are there any questions at this time? Seeing none.
Thank you. The Free Speech Policy Working Group has reformed, and we are spending time reviewing the university's free speech policy. There's no major updates on that work as of now, but we are currently reviewing the policy. In the policy, it was written that we review it every couple years, and so it was written 2 years ago, so we're going to review it again. If you have any questions about that process, I'm happy to answer those. But again, right at this moment, there's not any major information from that group. But again, if you do have anything you specifically like to ask for, please let me know. I know there was some requests to see the old policy before it was amended to what is our current policy. I found the old one, so I will drop that in the team. So folks want to look at that, you can, as well as drop the link to the current policy that's in place as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions about that.
Any questions? Seeing none.
Wonderful. And then finally, because elections is here and we are wrapping up our time at the 65th session, a couple reminders that I wanted to share with you. After today, the Senate only has 4 more meetings. It's crazy to already think about. But also at our final meeting on the 19th, we'll begin our closing of the session, which comes with a bunch of fun little pomp and circumstance moments. For those who are graduating, so this is for you all, for those who are graduating seniors, you are invited to deliver closing comments and reflections about your time in the student government, or advice you have for younger members of SGA and overall to the student body as a whole. If you do plan on doing that, please let the speaker know so that he has you down for that. We'll also hear from members of our executive branch who are graduating, and then Brandon and I will also offer some closing comments. I don't know if I told you that, but surprised if you didn't. Some closing comments for this session as well, and then we will officially adjourn that evening. And remind me, I got to get you the information for that, Junior. So, questions about that?
Any questions at this time? Seeing none.
Wonderful. That is all that I have. Thank you all very much. Thank you.
Awesome. At this time, we'll go ahead and move to Section 5, approval of the consent agenda. Are there any objections at this time? Seeing no objections, we'll move to item 6, consideration of pending business. Starting with item 1 under Section 6, the clerk will read.
This is AR-65-015, formation of student advisory and advocacy groups.
So we heard about this a few weeks ago. So we will now move into the debate period. Is there anybody who would like to speak in affirmation or negation of this? Seeing none, we will move into the voting period. Remember, please to turn your clickers on and double click A so that you can get signed in. And then A is yes to approve it, B is no, and C is abstain. Oh, sorry, are you ready? Are you ready? Okay. Are you sure? Thank you.
Still waiting on 3. Okay, with 30 yes, 1 no, and 4 abstentions, the motion passes.
All right, so we will move to item 2 under section 6. The clerk will read.
Act on request to approve AR-65-016, increased access to food campus, oh my gosh. Increased access to campus food sources.
Thank you. Is there anybody who would like to speak during the debate period at this time? Seeing none, we will move into the voting period. Remember, A is yes, B is no, and C is abstain, and the voting is open.
With 36 yes, 0 no, and 0 abstentions, the motion passes.
All right, at this time, we will exit out of section 6 and move into section 7, consideration of new business. Starting with item 1 under section 7, the clerk will read.
This is a first read of SB-65-133, recognition of the Student Association for Business Analytics.
Is the author here and wishes to speak? The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm very excited for you to hear from this organization tonight because this is probably one of the more eager organizations I've ever met with, because every single time I have met with multiple people from this organization. When they came to present to the committee, multiple people came. They've shown a lot of initiative and a lot of passion for what they are wanting to do as an organization. So I'm going to go ahead and yield the floor to them because they meet all the requirements.
You may come to the podium and speak.
Right. Hello. Yeah. My name is Saurabh. I'm a graduate student here with currently majoring in business analytics, and I'm here to pitch the Student Association for Business Analytics to you guys. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a student-led, ambassador-led organization for the study of business analytics. We're trying to create a community here. We're trying to create a community that can connect with the academia, with the industry, with a growing network of alumni. We're trying to create more opportunities for our students, for our members. Anyone who really wants to join, anyone who's interested in analytics is welcome to join. Some of the things that we've been discussing about are trying to create more and more awareness about business analytics, about the opportunities that come with analytics. Analytics is something that can be that can fall under a lot of categories like economics, data science, machine learning. There's a bunch of stuff, computer science. And so we think that there's a huge potential to create not just an academic community, but a social community as well. We intend to host workshops, technical seminars, have open course discussions, things of that nature. And that's essentially, in a nutshell, what we're trying to do. I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any questions. And yep.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Senator Mallard.
You mentioned being an ambassador for business analytics. Have you talked with the business ambassadors or the Barnes School business ambassadors, like a collab or to get help and whatnot?
Yeah, so right now we've already spoken to the MSBA director, the business analytics director, Dr. Suad Dinor, and we have a faculty advisor named Professor Keeler on board, who's a clinical associate professor. And we've also actually spoken to organizations like Interest Bank, who want to sponsor events and want to do things in collaboration with us. So right now, for the pace that we have, I'd say we have a pretty good scale of trying to garner support from the business leaders currently that we have access to right now.
Thank you. Are there any other questions at this time? Seeing no further questions, thank you. You may stay or leave for questions. No, sorry. Senator Harmon, you're good. You're good. I'm sorry.
I move to suspend the rules to be able to approve this organization on its first read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded from Chairperson Williams. We will now move into the voting period of that. Please remember A is yes to suspend the rules, B is no, and C is abstain.
With 34 yes, 0 no, and 1 abstentions, the motion passes.
Senator Harmon,
I move to approve by unanimous consent.
are there any objections? All right, we adopt with unanimous consent. Congratulations. At this time, we'll go ahead and move into item 2 under section 7. The clerk will read.
This is a first read of AR-65-018, Professor Accountability and Transparency Act.
Is there a sponsor or co-sponsor of this? Okay, the floor is yours.
Hello again, everyone. Unfortunately, Senator Soderstrom could not be here tonight, so she asked me to present her resolution for her, seeing as I am a co-sponsor. This is essentially going to be like a WSU-based Rate My Professor. Rate My Professor, or it's a proposal as a suggestion that WSU create one. Rate My Professor is a great tool for students, but Senator Soderstrom asked a great question. How can we make it better? Students often complain about grades being put in late or professors not answering emails and often feel unheard in their academic struggles. So Trinity thought of having a WSU-based Rate My Professor system. Things like OSPTE and SPTE are not public. However, this system that is being proposed would be. This will be a way for students to easily access information regarding the success of their academic futures. And one thing that she wanted me to stress is that this is not a bill in any way meant to be a tool of punishment for professors. It is supposed to help students more easily navigate their academic careers and more easily find professors that they would find beneficial for that. So now I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions at this time? Seeing no questions, thank you for taking the time to present. And without objection, this bill, or excuse me, resolution will go to the Academic Affairs Committee. Seeing no objections, all sponsors and co-sponsors, I would highly recommend that you do meet with the Academic Affairs Committee next Monday at 5:30. And Chairperson Owens, I do ask that you reach out to these authors as well so that they know where your committee meets. At this time, we will move to item 3 under section 7, and I will yield my floor to the Vice President.
Moving into section 3, or item 3, Nora. Clerk Malone, please introduce.
This is a first read of SB-65-136, Senate Restructure Act.
Is the author here and wish to speak?
I am.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. And all members of the task force, thank you. Please join me. All right. So again, as you saw last week, these are members of the task force that I, myself, as well as these members, worked together to think of ways that we could benefit the future sessions to come. And so after our presentation last week, as well as after opening up a space for all senators to come and meet with us, we have put together a bill that we propose that bill is in the Teams. So does everybody have access to the Teams? Can everybody see it right now? Raise your hand if you can't see it. Okay, good. So in there, I won't go over the full 19 pages of it, but basically we have taken language to not only add subcommittee language in there, we have either added or reduced, not reduced, but rephrased the duties of some of these positions. We have added some of their requirements, such as time. Additionally, we have explained what these new committees would look like, which committees would no longer be falling under the legislative branch, what the subcommittees would do. The membership review board, it would no longer be the Senate review board, but it would be titled the membership review board with some altered duties. And I'm trying to breeze through this because we did give this presentation last week. But we will all stand for any questions that you might have about specifics on the actual bill itself. And I can go into more detail about some of these things if needed, but again, we gave this presentation last week, so are there any questions?
Are there any questions for the task force? Senator Liu?
So in the duties of both the chairpersons of the subcommittees and standing committees, there's a stipulation that they serve at the pleasure of the speaker and who may at any time remove or suspend such chairpersons. Would you consider adding the stipulation that has to be by simple majority vote of the Senate to that?
I'm so sorry, this is so long. Can you tell me which chapter, article, all that good stuff?
Chapters, so there's two places. It's chapter 5 and 6, section 6, sub 6. 666. Chapter 6, section 6, subsection 6. I don't know. 98.
Oh, he's 98. Is this 98? Okay, I don't have my glasses on. Can you repeat your question now?
Yeah, so with that stipulation of the speaker having basically discretionary authority on whether to suspend or remove chairpersons, would you consider adding as a friendly amendment to where if the speaker would like to remove or suspend any chairpersons, have it by simple majority vote of Senate?
We wrote it in like that just to model off of the presidency and the powers of the presidency over its cabinet and the powers of, and then modeling the powers of the speaker over its leadership team. If you want to make that amendment, feel free to go to the committee meeting or feel free to make that motion when it comes back on the second read.
I would also say it's currently written now in the same capacity. So last year, when we amended the removal process, the Senate also gave the speaker at that point the ability to remove their own leadership team. And so currently it is written that the speaker has that ability, and because these new positions would be then new members of leadership, consistency is going to be important. And so I would throw that out there that it's currently written like that in the current rules and regulations that the speaker has the ability to do that. They get the sole ability to appoint them and the sole ability to remove them. It doesn't take away the Senate's ability. Like if the speaker won't do it and the Senate wants to do it, then the Senate can go through its process to remove someone. But I would say that because of how it's currently written for the current chairs, the consistency piece is going to be crucial in that area too.
Any further questions? Oh, Senator Owens.
I'll be honest, I didn't read the 100 pages, but it probably says it somewhere about SRB, but I was wondering if SRB would function the same way or if it would change at all in terms of who's elected to serve on that board.
It functions exactly the same way. Subcommittee chairs are a part of it as well. The only thing that is removed from the process is eligibility standards and moving that to the advisors, of which they already do. So it just clarifies and modernizes.
Senator Hatch.
Under Chapter 5, it replaces the word Senate with Membership Review Board in a bunch of places. Is that also just clarification, or is there something specific about the wording there?
It's really just a cosmetic change because, as is the current Senate Review Board also oversees everybody in SGA, like the executive branch as well, so it just changes to membership to clarify and make it clear what it does and what it can do.
Any further questions? Seeing none, thank you all. Without objection, this will be sent to the Ways and Means Committee.
All right, and then members of the task force, Ways and Means meets at 5:30 on Wednesday, so we will all be in there to crowd that space next week. All right, well, maybe after the picnic, because I want to be at the picnic. All right, at this time, we're going to move into, thank you. We're going to move into Section 8, final roll call and adjournment. However, instead of voting for final roll call, after I adjourn the meeting, I do ask that you walk up here as quick as possible in a single file line and check out with Clerk Malone, and then just make a pile of your legislative ballots right here in front of me, please. I adjourn this meeting here at 7:22 p.m.